Hello everyone, it's Hunter and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, it is so nice to meet you. Today's video, I'm sitting down with some tips and tricks I have for how to read more books. If you guys don't know, I absolutely love reading. I read so many books. I am currently at 91 for 2022 so far, and that's the most books I've ever read in such a short period of time. But I love reading. It is genuinely my only hobby, literally the only thing that I have as a hobby besides making videos. And so I thought I would share with you guys how I read so much. People ask me all the time when they see how many I've read, they're like, how do you do that? How do you have time for that? How do you pick your books? All that kinds of fun stuff. So I thought I would just compile everything into a list for you and kind of talk about it. So before we get started, I'd love it if you guys would subscribe to my channel down below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first two tips I have are for kind of where to get started, how to pick your books, and things like that. So the first tip I have is to find a genre that you're interested in. For me, I mostly read YA romance whenever I was in middle and high school because I was a high school girl, of course. I was a teenage girl. YA romance, always a cute time. But now that I'm an adult, I obviously have more interest than just YA romance, and I am really into thriller novels. And I got my Kindle back in 2019, very shortly after I got married, and I got on Prime Reading on Amazon and read a couple of thriller novels, and that kind of transformed my interests, if I'm being honest. I did not know that I was a fan of thriller novels until I read my very first one, and it was amazing. It really opened my eyes, but never thought that I would be into books about thriller type things. I like all kinds of different genres, even subgenres within the thriller and mystery genre. I like psychological thriller, I like domestic thrillers, I like crime procedural thrillers, literally so many different things, and those are just subgenres within one genre. I really love romance. I like clean romance. I like romance with a little bit of spice. I like contemporary literature, contemporary fiction. I like some nonfiction true crime stuff. So I really am a jack of all trades when it comes to genre. The only thing I really don't like is fantasy, and I've pretty much read everything else. I like historical fiction. In fact, my top 4 books of all time are historical fiction, and I think it just comes down to finding what you're interested in, because if we talk about like the most popular books out there right now, they may not be your cup of tea, and maybe that's why you think you don't like reading, or maybe that's why you're not reading enough, or think you're not reading enough. So I feel like finding a genre that you're interested in is definitely a good place to start. And if you're not sure what you like, I would highly recommend thinking about the shows and movies that you like to watch. If you like the Harry Potter movies, you're probably gonna like reading the books even more. If you like to watch like Criminal Minds or some kind of crime movie, you're probably really gonna like some thriller novels, especially criminal procedure novels. I really love the author Karen Slaughter. She writes lots of criminal, and they're like my fave of all time. And after I read one of her books, I actually watched Criminal Minds for the first time, and now it's one of my absolute favorite shows. If you like Jane the Virgin, probably would love rom-coms, especially like the clean ones. Just cute, funny books. So it really just depends, but think about other entertainment that you consume and kind of translate that over into books. My next tip is to find an author that you like. Obviously, there are some really popular authors out there right now. Colleen Hoover is super trendy author at the moment. I personally am a big fan. Back in the day, it was Nicholas Sparks, John Green, all kinds of authors. Find an author that you like. If you like one of their books, you're likely to like their other books. I love Josie Silver and have read every other one of, not everyone, I've read a couple of other books by her. I read one book by Gillian Flynn and started reading more. I read one book by Karen Slaughter, started reading more, and I'm able to find similar books from that author. It kind of just like snowballs into other books that you can read. So it's definitely like you're never gonna be at a loss for having material to read, especially if you find an author that you like. You can always find someone similar. If you like Beth O'Leary, I would recommend Sarah Adams, things like that. It's just super easy to find other stuff that you like once you find an author that you enjoy. So for example, I have these 2 books right here. Let's see. This is the book adaptation, so this is not even the first version of the book, but let's see. Okay, so if you find a book that you like and want to look for more similar authors, a good way to find someone is by going to the blurbs on the front cover, the back cover, or the inside. There are other authors that leave little blurbs. So for example, this one is Kate Christensen, author of The Astral, Karen Slaughter, author of Fallen, Scott Smith, author of The Ruins, Adam Ross, author of Mr. Peanut. Probably they write they probably more than likely write similar books, and that'll help you figure that out. This one probably is not the best way to figure out the similar type of book. This is An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. Just came out not too long ago, and it has a blurb by Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover does not write the same kind of books that Taryn Fisher does, but she always leaves a blurb, and vice versa, because they're besties. So that's probably not the best way to describe. Oh, here we go. Here's one by B.A. Paris. B.A. Paris is a good person to compare to An Honest Lie. They write similar genres, so that's a good way to figure out like more authors that you like. The next one is something that I feel like is a reason why people don't read, and I feel very strongly about this. Third tip, if you do not like a book, you don't have to finish it. What a concept. Have you ever turned off a show because you didn't like it? You turned off a movie because you didn't like it? Or did you feel like you had some sort of loyalty to it and felt like you had to keep going? I know it feels like when you start something you should finish it, but when you're reading a book, because I wrote down some reasons, because you're bored out of your mind, it has a confusing storyline, it has too many characters or points of view, so it's hard for you to follow, if it has graphic depictions of triggering scenes, so things that are triggering to you, if you just find it gross, because there are some books that I've picked up and I'm like, this is just kind of gross, I don't like it, so I put it down. Or if you just like don't agree with the main beliefs of the story. I do think sometimes we should challenge our beliefs because it really solidifies what we believe ourselves, but sometimes it's just like so far out of the realm of what we believe, or maybe it's really incredibly offensive to you or something that you believe, so it's okay to put it down. Like, you don't have to continue reading it if you don't like it, and you're not a failure for doing so. And the reason why I think that a lot of people don't read more is because either they took forever to read that one book because of any of those reasons, mostly because they're bored or it's confusing, so they're trying to push through it. I feel like once they do get to the end of it, they're burnt out and do not want to continue reading, or they just take so long to finish it that they feel like, maybe I don't like reading, you know? They think I don't like reading, but really it's just that book. It's not all of them. So that's why it's important to find genres and authors that you're interested in, because then you don't feel like you're not finishing book after book. So again, remember, if you don't like a book, you don't have to finish it. It's not the end of the world and you're not a failure for it. Just because it's a book that a bunch of people love does not mean that you have to love it. So just keep that in mind. The last two I feel like are ways to get books. And I feel like for me, that was part of the reason why I stopped reading after high school and into college, why I didn't read as much. So I had access to the school library whenever I was in high school and in middle school. So I had lots of options. I had the availability. I was at school 5 days a week. I had plenty of time to go to the library and check out books that I wanted to read. But then I got to college. My college library didn't really, I don't think it had any fiction books in it. It was mostly studies and things like that. I was reading books for school that were a lot heavier material than the ones that I read in high school. I just didn't have as much free time in the beginning of college, so I kind of fell off the reading there, and I did not know that I could download ebooks from the library. And my college was in the middle of nowhere and I didn't have a car, so it's not like I could just drive to the local public library. So access to books, I feel like, is a big reason why people don't read, and I think people don't realize how easy it is to have books and to get access to them. So yes, you can go to Barnes & Noble and spend $17. You can go to Barnes & Noble and spend $17 on a brand new release, and that's not a sustainable thing for most people to do. Like, yes, you can buy one book for $17 every once in a while, but buying brand new books from Barnes & Noble every single time you want a book is just not sustainable for most people's incomes. I thrifted this one. I think I just peeled off the sticker not too long ago. I can still see the adhesive on it. I thrifted this one from Goodwill for 99 cents. So I highly recommend, if you go to a thrift store for some other reason, check out the book section. They might have something really good. This is Gone Girl. I haven't read it yet. It's on my nightstand because it's my next book to read. But I personally feel like you can find some gems at the thrift store and just grab the books that you like. They're so affordable. So your risk, I guess, of buying the book if you don't like it is so low. It's so low. So first, just having access to books is super important. So thrift stores and secondhand bookstores are really good options. Of course, you can always go to the local library if you live near one, or if you have easy and reliable transportation to one. Super easy to do that. But of course, that's not always an easy option for some people. Sometimes, you know, you checked a book out from the library years ago and you have fines and you can't pay them, which I feel like is understandable. There are options you can borrow from your friends. Again, you can buy from thrift stores, and then there are also little free libraries in so many different neighborhoods, and you can go and grab books out of there. I would highly recommend putting books in when you take them out, just so that there's like a constant flow of books, so it's not like take all the time. But little free libraries are an incredible option for people, especially in lower income neighborhoods, just because books, like I said, are expensive. You can't pay $17 for a book every single time you want to buy one. This came out in 2012. It was $15, so obviously inflation, it's like $2 more than it would have been. But little free libraries are an incredible option for you if you don't have a local library and don't want to spend any money. Other options for people, if you have an iPad, even if you just have a smartphone, you can download the app Libby, Overdrive, or Hoopla, depending on what your library uses, or you can download all three. I have all three on my iPad, and it connects to the local library, and you can download ebooks. So if you have a library card, you kind of just have to go one time to get a library card, and then you plug it into your computer, and then you can look for books all over the place. Libby is literally a godsend for me. I am pretty sure Libby is not available for Kindle in Canada, just based off of what I've heard. I don't know for sure. But here is my current loan shelf. I have these 3 books. I have The Family Plot by Megan Collins, One Night on the Island by Josie Silver, and Family of Liars by E. Lockhart. I just downloaded these, and now they're on my Kindle, available for me to read whenever I'm ready. They're available for 21 days, just like the library would allow me to check it out. But you can literally go through and see so many recommendations. Literally, there are so many options. I freaking love Libby. It's the best. And then Hoopla. So Libby is like the library. They have the rights to so many e-copies of the book, but on Hoopla you can pretty much download anything, but you only have limited downloads, whereas on Libby you can pretty much download as many as you want to, as long as they're available, if that makes sense. But with Hoopla, you kind of have to be a little bit more picky, because you only have a set number of downloads per month, if that makes sense. But those are great resources, and I started reading more whenever I realized I had more options than just going to the public library. Some other ones that I did not mention yet: Kindle Unlimited is $9.99 a month if you have a Kindle, or if you don't, you can just download the Kindle app. You can pull it up. You can pull up Kindle on your iPad or phone. I personally prefer using my Kindle, but this is Kindle. You can read books. You don't need to buy a separate device. So there's that. And then also Apple Books. Where's my phone? In my pocket. Apple Books has a section that is free books. Let me go to it real quick. Apple Books. So if you go to the bookstore, you can find where there are top charts of free books, and this is a good way to discover new authors and to discover different genres that you like. So that way you can go through, figure out what you like, what you don't like, and there's not any risk because they're free. So there's that. And then also Amazon Prime. If you have it, they offer Prime First Reads, and it's where they have maybe like 5 or 6 titles that they allow Prime users to purchase for free, and it'll go straight onto your Kindle device, and it's usually a book that has not come out yet, so that's always a really fun way to try new books as well for nothing, because if you don't like them, you don't have to worry about wasting your money. And the last thing on this list is probably the biggest answer to how I read so many books, and the answer is audiobooks. Audiobooks are a super easy way to consume a lot of books in a very short period of time. I personally listen to all audiobooks on at least 2x speed because the normal speed is way too slow for me. If you can't tell by me talking, I also turn YouTube videos up to 2x speed. But audiobooks are a super great option, especially if you're someone who's really busy, if you have a long commute to work, if you have lots of cleaning to do around your house. You can stick your headphones in and you can do your laundry or empty the dishwasher, make your bed, wash your sheets, clean your bathroom, drive to work, take a walk, go on the treadmill. You can literally do so many things while you're listening to audiobooks, and you can kind of exercise your mind while also doing other things. Keeps your brain stimulated, especially if you're doing a mindless task like driving or, cleaning, or even just walking on a treadmill. So audiobooks are a super awesome option. In April of this year, so last month, I read 26 books and 13 of them were audiobooks. I listened to them through Scribed, which is an app. It does cost $11.99 a month. April was my free trial month, so I was able to listen to a handful. I'm not sure how many there were there, but it was $11.99 a month. Well worth the price for me. There's also Audible. Audible's not my favorite option because it does cost $14.99 a month and you only get one title, but that but still a lot cheaper than it would be to buy individual audiobooks, if that makes sense. So $14.99. Audiobooks are typically like $20, $30, which makes no sense to me, but it is what it is. However, if you have a Kindle Unlimited membership, I would highly recommend having the Audible app on your phone because you can download books that come with Audible narration at no extra cost. So it comes free with your Kindle Unlimited membership and you don't have to have an Audible membership for it. And I read a lot of books that have Audible narration from Kindle Unlimited just because if it's there, I'm gonna listen to it on audiobook because I can get it done faster while doing stuff. And of course there is Libby Hoopla Overdrive from the library. There are also options for audiobooks there as well. So that is pretty much all I've got. If you guys have any questions about books, if you want any recommendations, if you want to know what my faves are, I'd be happy to share. Be sure to comment down below and I'll get back to message me on Instagram. I'll try to get back to you. I have a book Instagram. It's called huntermerck reads if you want to check it out. It's a good time, and that is all I have. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.